Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fancy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Mega Ruler 31. We have a special race this week in Mexico City, the Autodome Hermano Rodriguez, which is named after two brothers. Can't remember if they were F1 brothers from Mexico that were very successful or if they had something to do with owning and designing the track. But anyways, it's a road course and it's going to be a unique experience. And I look back at the last couple of years when we tried Bristol Dirt and when we tried the Chicago Street Race, and there were a lot of hiccups the first time. And I don't necessarily want to say it's going to turn into a poop show, but I did watch the Cup practice, some videos on the track, and F1 runs there regularly. And the track's a little bit different. They shortened it and took out some of the things because these cars are heavier and they wouldn't be able to make some of the turns. But it's pretty cool. It's got like a straightaway that's like what, 4,000. Um, it's pretty long, and then there's like a couple turns where you come in and like stadiums and like and there's kind of like a baseball stadium one with a really tight turn that the cars really have to slow down into. So it looks like it's a pretty cool concept. There is one out of bounds marker. It's like turn 14 or maybe I don't know, maybe it's earlier on, but it's a yellow line and you really want to try to gain advantage by getting close to it. But if you go over it, uh, at least in the Cup Series, and I'm assuming Xfinity will use the same thing. So they're talking about in the Cup practice. If you cross that line, you don't have to do a pass through the pit, which is something that they ask for. They have what's called a joker lane. So I guess you have to like pull up into that and like stop and let traffic go by and then go into it. I'm sure they'll explain the rules on the telecast. And after this really race, I'm sure I'll have a better grip on it. So with that, we're those are some of the things. The other thing that is a major difference here is the altitude. I think Las Vegas is the highest altitude for a track, and it's like 1,000 and change, but this is like over 7,000 feet above sea level. So the air is really thin. So what does that mean? Reduced horsepower, reduce drag. So the cars can go faster in a straight line, but acceleration is going to be because the engines won't have as much power with the air. So you can fly in a straight line, but to accelerate, it's going to take a little bit more effort from the engine. And the biggest thing is that the brakes and the engine will take a longer time to cool. So if people are constantly using the brakes too much and not giving a chance to cool, the rotors could explode. We've seen that on a couple road courses. There was one road course a couple years ago. I can't remember if it was Xfinity or Cup, but I think it was all the colleague cars had like bad like rotors and they all just like blew up and all the cars were out. And it was just a disaster for that team. So hopefully we don't have anything like that. But I do worry, especially in Xfinity, where they don't have the parity. If some of them are using like cheaper parts for the brakes and rotors, I'm looking at like a single car team like Cope Family Racing, R Motorsports, SS Greenlight, Joey Gase Racing. That could definitely be concerning. So you do have some Cup guys in here. You have Suarez and Bell and Gibbs dropping down. So I think that they're decent road course drivers, and Suarez, of course, is going to be involved because this is like his home track and his thing. And you have a couple other ringers that are from Mexico in here. But just looking at this specifically, the Cup drivers, I think Bell and Gibbs are looking to maybe get some more track time in here. I think they can still be competitive, and I'll get to that when I break down all the drivers. But if you look at the sheet, the blue have always been those who are better than average at road courses. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're elite, it means that they're proficient. And then the brown ones are ringers. So they're ones that if they have kind of the skin color peach number, that means that they run Xfinity regularly outside of road courses. But if they're like dark, then they primarily, besides the three cup guys up top, are pretty much what we call ringers. They come in and mostly just run road courses. They've got especially, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're elite. There used to be some, like Boris said, that used to, and Shane Van Gisbergen, when he um, came in a couple times, that were just like outstanding, and like you would just go there and just teach the field pretty much how to do it. And I think everybody over the years is getting starting to get better at road courses because since COVID, like NASCAR's had so many of them, and Xfinity's only run at Coda this year, and that's the far right hand column where you can see where they finished there. The two with the asterisks, that's where the car finished, not the driver. So Gibbs and Suarez weren't in the cars, but that's where they finished. The car finished, the team finished at there. So I think people are getting better, and we're going to head into a season where we're running into a bunch of road courses coming up. So it's going to be a stretch, and Xfinity, it's going to be interesting because if with the amount of winners that they've had already, they only have like 6 open spots left for the drivers to make the playoffs. So even though we're only in June now, we still got to be starting to think about that. So I think that's everything about the track. Last time Xfinity raced here was 2008. Kyle Busch won, and I think Denny was in there. Brad Keselowski was in there. Chase Elliott might have been in that race. Let's see here. No, he wasn't. So and Suarez has run a couple times here. Ruben Rovello has run here and won before in the Mexican NASCAR series. So let's just start at the top. So Zilich has the highest price, and why? Because Zilich has raced here before also, and he has won here 3 times in other different car series. So that's something that's definitely going to help him, and that's probably where he's the most expensive driver. And we'll have to see how he does in practicing and qualifying out there. And I think he's definitely one to consider. Like there isn't going to be any dominators. You want to look for place differential here, and you want to look for finishing position. But I'm not. I don't object to if somebody just has an absolute dominant car and has this track figured out, taking them because even though they're not going to have the place differential points, they're going to probably have the finishing position, and that's definitely um, going to help you with your scoring also. With 65 laps, it's not really going to be enough points, even if they lead every single one. Of course, like it'd be great to have that person, but I don't think that that's necessary to try to nail down like who's going to go out and lead laps. Because if you have like 2 or 3 drivers like lead laps here, it's just watering down that point pool so much that it's really going to be like a super speedway where it's so like spread out that it doesn't matter. And we saw that in Michigan recently. So I think Zilich has a really one coda, and I think he's definitely a very, very strong play here. Suarez, practice initially he was struggling because the track is different. And I think some of the muscle memory, he was coming off some of the turns and they were closer, or they were sharper, or they weren't what he expected. And I think he was starting to get it, but we'll have to see if that negated his advantage that he's had like running here in the track before. And I think it's a lot of momentum of being like home and all that, but that could turn into pressure too. So I'm going to give him the Dominator here because, as I'm saying Dominator, I'm just looking at kind of like studs I would pay up for in my lineup more than ones that I think that could go out there. But when I say Dominator, I think potential like winners here. So Bell and Gibbs, I think, would be upside dominators because I think they're definitely dark horses among the studs. They're good at road courses. Like Gibbs was very, very solid at road courses, did some amazing things in Xfinity, battling Gregson and Cindric back in when a couple years ago in like damaged tore up cars, still making passes. His first race. It was on a Daytona fake road course, and he ended up like winning that race. So there's a lot there, and Bell has just been so solid in everything all year. He's in a Sam Hunt car, but you got to bet that's got it. He probably has his top team there for it pretty much. Everybody, I know if you read about the travel delays and stuff, everybody should be there. So they should have everybody that they need and and be able to make it happen. Allgaier, 29th Dakota. I'm going with GPP. He's proficient at road courses, but it's like some of the data, like if you're paying this far up, I would rather he's kind of in like no man's land here. because I'd rather pay up for like Zilich or Suarez or maybe one of the other Cup guys. Like I say, they can short pit here before the stage, and um, I think that they'll probably have stage. I didn't look at sorry, I didn't do that research, but I'm assuming that they'll still have like a stage break here. I don't know if they'll throw the caution, but there's ways that because they're not worrying about trying to get stage points, there's ways for non-regular drivers to hit earlier than everybody else if there's a caution or things like that and get out there and get the track position, then everybody else pits after the stage. And if they can hold it, it's hard to pass. That's a way and a great strategy for them to get out there, get track position, and hopefully be able to hold it. Now, there is some fall off on the tire. They were talking about that this tire, after it heats up a little bit, loses grip, and it has to do with the altitude and all that. Like stuff I talked about earlier in the video. Also, so that might actually be detrimental because if the fall off happens and newer tires do end up being something, and again, it was just called practice, so the Xfinity tire is probably different and how the cars handle on it and stuff. So we don't know what the fall off is. We'll have to watch practice to kind of figure that out. But that's something too that could be if are pitting earlier, that they might have the track position, but not be able to hold it if somebody has fresher tires later in the race. So Allgaier, I don't know. I'll have to watch practice and qualifying, but I don't think that he's going to be one that I'm looking at. Mayer is. Mayer has been super good at road courses. I know the Haas team has had some mixed results, especially in Cup, but here in Xfinity, it seems like they've been better. And Mayer is very, very good and finished third in Coda, so somebody I'm definitely looking at. Reed, consider putting the 100K or the 10K label or 20K or whatever the top GPP is for him, but just give him regular GPP. 12th in Coda. He is one that is like super aggressive, super risky, and boom or bust. And one of the days it's going to pay off. He's going to win his first race, but it hasn't happened yet. So I got to stop paying for him in GPPs until it does, unless he looks super dominant in practice and qualifying, or he's like the last guy in my lineup, or if I'm just throwing him in a dollar one just to see what happens, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. Hill, I like also here. Um, I toyed between him and Suarez for the Dominator tag here, just because he has been solid at road courses, has wins at Watkins Glen in the Truck Series, uh, and fourth at Coda here. So definitely want to keep an eye on. Quaffle, everybody was like high on for Coda, and that's because he's run here at Coda previously in the Trans Am series, but I don't think he's got any experience here. So I'm kind of off him. 23 at Coda was disappointing to the people that played him, and a GPP for me. Love and Taylor Gray, even though Taylor Gray has been qualifying really good and not fulfilling that during the course of the race, I think that both of them are decent on road courses and have some upside, especially if they're back in the pack. I think they can get you some place differential and some decent finishing position. And Sammy Smith has been solid also. So I like them. But the next two are the ones that I really, really want to key in on because I guess just looking at his times in the truck series and road courses and how well he's run and how well he ran at Dakota with a fifth place finish as a rookie, I think that he really understands the concepts and the braking and everything. And Swalish, the same thing. Did good in the truck series last year. Good at Dakota. Those are the two drivers that I think in this mid range here, I really, really like the prime plays. And I don't know if I'm going to keep both of them. And just a reminder, I should have said this in the early video, but thank you for staying with me to this point. And is that FSI is going to be free. So you'll be able to see like what the final verdict is for my primes and stuff. Go to the description of the video. The link to our Discord's there. All you have to do is join the Discord. Not making you get a coupon code, going to the website, signing up, and everything like that. Just get in our Discord. When you get in the lobby, hit the hashtag, or not the hashtag, the backward slash and the word link. It'll give you instructions. That'll make you a member. As soon as you're a member, I don't think you need to be a member. There's a free room called NASCAR Pool. We used to use it for a different game. I'm going to use it for free content this weekend for Father's Day, just to thank you for all the fathers for all you've done for kids. And we've talked about like recently, my father is end stages of cancer, and a lot of you had shared that you have lost your fathers recently. So hopefully this is a weekend of healing and celebration, and you know, hopefully through like watching NASCAR and playing some DFS can help with that process. So free FSI. So these primes, this is again, once we have practice and qualifying, you'll have the final sheet. All you need to do is get into the FSI Discord. So Eckes and Swalich, I think I'm looking as my primes there. Jones, I can't make him proficient at a rose course, but he's so boomer bust. Like 30th Dakota, but he's had some spots where he has been really, really, really good. So I'm gonna take a shot on him in the 10K. If you're not feeling that, then go Creed. If you can get to a little bit more, if you have 2,000 more dollars in salary, then and you think Brandon Jones or practicing qualifying is just abysmal, and you think, okay, this is not going to work, then bail and go with Creed. Sanchez is big machine racing. Has been decent on road courses. Not great at Coda, but in Truck Series he was pretty good. So I think he's a solid cash play. Alfredo is okay here. Perez de Lara, like, he's won one race at this track in the Mexican series, but other than that, like again, they've changed the track a little bit for Xfinity and for Cup, and I just DGM racing, I just worry about like the brakes and stuff. If he looks like he's super solid, I might change it to cash in practice and qualifying, but I'm just not feeling it. These Collie cars have been solid, solid, solid on road courses. And I think that he's definitely one of my 10K ones. It could be a cash or prime play, depending. Uh, Middle of the pack in Coda, but at 7,100, he's priced up a little bit. That's why I can definitely put the cash or a prime tag on him. But I'm super, super interested in seeing how he does, and probably will have some exposure to him. Burton, I'm putting as a fade. He's not a road course guy. He tries, but it just doesn't work out. So again, unless something looks radically different in practice and qualifying here, I'm probably not playing any Burton. Green has had some very solid, and Jordan Anderson is another program. Jordan Anderson and Collie have come to the road courses with very, very good cars and good drivers in them. And I think that he's definitely a cash play and someone to look at in the 6K range. LeBay, I like also. He is very good at road courses. 14th at Coda comes with a great price tag. And even though it's an SNS Greenlight car, which I said could potentially have cheaper parts, which scare me, he knows how to run on road courses. So I think that he'd be able to take care of his brakes and it won't be that much of an issue. Clements usually is a cash play, usually is a floor play, but road courses he's starting to decline a little bit, so he might lose that blue tag. We'll see how he does with this one, and the next one's coming up. So I was going to play with GPP and not as a fade, but don't think I'll be playing a ton of him. Ryan Sieg, I really like. He has been solid at road courses. Usually starts down, doesn't qualify well, but kind of through the race of attrition, just does his thing, stays out there, stays on the track, which is good, avoids chaos, and he has had a top 20 at Coda and usually has some solid finishing positions. So really like him as cash play. Jeb Burton, take it or leave it. He's in a Jordan Anderson car, but I just don't feel he's that proficient as much in road course racing. So we'll have to see. Maybe he goes out there. Maybe everything looks good from practice and qualifying, and the rest of the team kind of brings him up. Maybe they share some tips on braking and acceleration and what to do and how to approach the course, and that helps him raise his game. So we'll have to look into that. So keep him in mind, but kind of on the back burner. Dean Thompson, Retzlaff, another 10K one, another volatile one. Boomer bust, Alpha Prime. He was really good in Jordan Anderson. The Alpha Prime is not as good, but they're not as bad as some of the other ones. But he's the one that could scare me, that could go out there and be one of the first ones to blow out their brake or flat spot one of their tires from braking too much and locking him up. So again, we'll have to see in practice if he's all over the course and not doing well, then that's one thing. But the other thing is that we saw in cup practices, people are going to try to push the course. So if he spins out a couple times, don't worry about it. That's him trying to see how much the car can take. And as long as he's not hitting the wall or anything like that, doing damage to the car in practice, I think we're okay. And towards the end, if you see like the pushing, figuring out where the boundaries are, and using that data to get good lap times, then definitely somebody that you want to put in your lineup. Dean Thompson, Sam Hunt, solid here. 18th. Josh Williams, a 15th. An underrated road course driver in a Collie car. Someone also to keep your eye on at a cheap price in the 6K range. Di Benedetto, take it or leave it. Fram and Ravello, like I said, I don't know if Fran's ever run in Mexico. Of course, I know Ravello hasn't, has won in the NASCAR Mexican Series. But the thing that really worries me about these Joey Gase cars is, again, how is the quality of the product? You would think with them being road course ringers that they would kind of know they're breaking everything, and hopefully that bodes well. But again, we'll look at practice and qualifying, but I just don't know if these engines and these cars, like, it's one of the least funded teams Xfinity Series, and you have to really kind of worry about the equipment there. Pool and Alpha Prime here, I think, is solid and cash. He is working towards getting his blue. I just want to see a little bit more. I've been really impressed with how he ran at Coda and how he ran some of the last year ones. I don't think he's quite there yet, but he's super close. And next video for road course, you might see the blue stripe on him if he does better. Look, he teaches people how to drive on road courses, and the old adage that people say is that those who can't teach. So he has never won a road course to my knowledge, or he's had a couple good finishes, but everything else has been pretty average. He usually gets some place differential, so I think that he's can be a new GPP, potentially a cash play, seeing how the car's speed looks in qualifying and practice. Blade Perkins, I'm going to put it a prime play down here. And this prime play can be either Perkins, Sieg, or Ellis. I think all of these cars have the upside at the price point if they're starting back in the field to be ones that you need. And if for some reason Eckes or Swalich is starting towards the front and I don't feel they're prime anymore, two out of the three of these might become prime plays when all is said and done because I really have my eye on Perkins, Sieg, and Ellis. That's if I don't end up with a mid-range one like Guy or Sanchez, or like Green as the third prime play. But I think Eckes and Swalich up top there, Green and Dye in the middle, and then I love these three cars down here: Perkins, Sieg, and Ellis. I think they all have a lot of upside. They've been performing really well in road course and get enough place differential for you and decent finishing positions to be considered. Thomas Anezuita. I'll learn how to say that one time eventually, but I think it's a fade. I just worry about the Cope family racing. Brad Perez, I think, can be a GPP here. Doesn't race that much. Alpha Prime should be okay, but I've seen him lost out there on some tracks. So borderline fade. I gave him a GPP just to give him a chance, but we'll see. And then Chris Wright, I just don't think that he's going to be solid. And you have, I believe, like 40 cars here. So two of them aren't going to qualify. And I believe it's probably going to be Thomas and Chris Wright are the ones that are not going to be able to get in because the Joey Gase car, even though those aren't drivers that have been here a while, like the cars have raced enough to have like owner's points. The FSi green light one should. And I can't imagine that like there's no other car really out here that maybe the 91 of Perez de Lara, that one could be potentially in jeopardy if it comes down to owners points to make it into the series. So that's what I got for you. FSI is kind of all over the place, but hopefully this gave you a little bit of a starting point. But again, like I said, FSI is going to be free, so just go into the description of the video, get into our Discord, sign up, link your account, and go into that free NASCAR pool one and the conversation. With some of the people that joined back in Mother's Day and have stayed in there, I occasionally throw out some free content for you, especially if I can't get a video out. I'll give you like the sheet. I don't give you everything because that's what the paying subs get. But I take care of this paying subs first, and if I have some time left over, I'll go through and I'll answer questions in the free one in the NASCAR pool. And people have done pretty well. We've seen some pretty good screenshots of some success there. So, and that just makes me happy to see. So, because that's what I'm not trying to make money on. I'm trying to make money on NASCAR DFS. I'm not trying to make money off of like tons of money off of subs and stuff. I just really want to help, but we need to keep the lights on here at FSI. So, you know, internet and different things cost money. So that's what I got. So hopefully you have an amazing Father's Day weekend. And if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you know when videos come out, and share with your friends. And we'll be back next week. I don't really know. I think we're to the Poconos next week. I know trucks are there. I don't know if it's all three or not. So I should have videos for that. Definitely have a couple videos tonight. So, and we'll be able to see the Xfinity race. So it'll give us some data to kind of be able to consider when building our lineups for the cup race. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. I'll see you next time.